welcome to ENC 1101 for the spring of 26. My name is Dr. Haley Alcorn and I will be your instructor for the class. This video will walk you through how to get started and what to expect. This is the second orientation video. The first one is about me and why I don't allow AI in the writing classes I teach. So make sure you watch that first before you get into this one. So in this video, we will talk about Canvas and how to get started, the syllabus, we're going to go over that. We will look at the schedule of your assignments and what's due during the first week, aka making sure you don't get dropped. Very important. So we will start by looking at Canvas. This is the home page, or what you will see after you click on our course. The first little blurb there is about the syllabus and the important policies it contains and how to access it. And then if you look below that, you have some important links there to the calendar, and then these 5 links, how Canvas works. That's that first link there. If you're new to Canvas, this is your first class online, it would not be a bad idea to go through those modules there. And then online learning, or what it takes to succeed in an online class. This is really important because online classes are so different than the face-to-face environment. They work well for some students, not as well for others. You have to have a certain level of self-discipline, of being able to take content and absorb it and kind of have that communication with the instructor to clarify things, and it really requires more accountability as far as pacing and knowing what you're responsible for. So there's a lot that goes into online learning that you might not think about if you're only used to face-to-face. So also not a bad idea to go through that separate orientation. And then there is a link to the different clubs and activities hosted by Polk State if you want to feel part of the community. And if you're a person who likes to socialize, I definitely recommend checking out that link. It's got things like Zumba classes and anything related to athletics that you can think of, or clubs related to what you might be interested in, all kinds of stuff. And then finally, how to get help with your Polk email, with Canvas, any technological troubles you may be having. And then the one-stop shop link brings all of this together. If you click that, you'll see online learning resources, including your student handbook, and then student support, or where to go for these different needs that you might have, technical resources to get assistance for different digital problems. So all of this is at your fingertips as soon as you log into our course. These links will be available to you. So that is how you find how to stay connected, how to get help, and how to succeed in the online class. And then if you scroll down, you're going to see information about using this menu on the left-hand side, which will take you to different places in our online course, including writing help, which is like an online writing center where you can work one-on-one with a writing tutor. More tutoring resources through the TLCC and the libraries. So these links are important. There's different kinds of help you can get throughout the semester. Basically, we don't want you ever feeling like you are alone. You always have resources, always someone to reach out to for different kinds of issues you might be having. So there's the menu. And then at the bottom, just a little note about getting started. Watching the 2 orientation videos. If this is your second one, you're on the right track. you're going to read the syllabus next, and then a little note about the week 1 assignments. Now, if this is your very first college class ever, you need to pay close attention. If not, and you know what first day attendance means, you can zone out for about 30 seconds. First day attendance. Now, if we were in a face-to-face classroom, I would walk in, have a list, and call roll and check off for whoever answered. And at the end of class, those students who did not show up or who did not answer roll, they would be dropped from the class. Now, we don't have the ability to meet and call roll all at once. So you have until the end of the first week to get your first day attendance requirement in. First day attendance says, I'm going to participate in this class. Please don't drop me. So at the end of week 1 or Sunday by the 11th at 11:59, I will be looking for who completed all of their assignments as a way of saying, yes, I'm here, I'm enrolled, I want to take this class. And students who did not complete that work, they're going to get dropped so that we can make room for other students who want to take the class. So first day attendance, very, very important. All right, course syllabus. We're going to go over that next. And you can access this from that left-hand navigation menu. Or if you go into modules, also on the left-hand menu, and then look under documents and resources, you will see the course syllabus there. So there's lots of different ways to access it. We use a website called Simple Syllabus. So it's going to take you to a website, and that's how you will open it. Now, I recommend reading the syllabus in full before I go over it with you. So feel free to pause and return when you're ready. Watching this video is not a substitute for reading the syllabus. You've still got to read it on your own. We will go over what I think are the most important parts, or the parts that you really need some communication as we go through them. But we won't go over everything, and I'm not going to sit here and read it verbatim to you, because you can all read. And so you're going to need to read the whole thing on your own and make sure that you understand all of the policies in there. And if you don't, please reach out right away so that I can clarify things. So go ahead and pause and read the syllabus and come back when you're ready. And now we will go over the syllabus. At the top, you have my information, my email, how to get a hold of me, phone number. I'll say more about the phone number in a minute. My office. Because I only teach online, I don't have a physical office space at any of the campuses. So my office is considered online. And office hours. If you're a first-time in college student, you may not know what office hours are for. What are office hours? Well, again, if this were a face-to-face class, or if I had a physical office space, I would go to my office during my office hours, prop the door open, and keep myself busy somehow until a student came in wanting to chat or ask a question or go over a piece of an essay they're working on, whatever. That time is reserved for you to come and ask me questions. But this is not a physical office space, so my online hours are Monday to Wednesday from 10 to 12, 10 in the morning to 12 p.m. And what that means is I'll be there sitting in front of my computer, ready to take questions or monitoring the course chat on Canvas. I will have that open. There's a little space where you can send chats and talk to each other. So I will be monitoring those communications, and you can expect a quick reply if you get in touch with me during office hours. If you do want to meet with me, though, if you want to reserve a time just for you and make sure that I'm not with anyone else, then you need to schedule a Zoom or phone meeting, and those always need to be scheduled ahead of time. So you cannot just cold call me during office hours without making arrangements, because I might be with another student. I might be busy. So any kind of meeting will always need to be scheduled ahead of time, but you know that my office hours would be a good place to start with scheduling a meeting because that's when I'm making myself available. However, if that time does not work for you, we can always find a different time to meet. Okay. Course info. Little bit of a course description there. You can read through that on your own. And I'll describe the course in more detail in a moment. Online, that's our modality. This is an asynchronous class, meaning there is no set time that you have to be online. You work at your own pace, but with weekly deadlines. So the course is set up so that work is due every Sunday at 11:59. So it is up to you to determine how to move through those assignments. It's self-paced. And I'll say more about that in a minute. If you want the full breakdown of ENC 1101 down to every learning outcome and description, you can always look the course up on the BCI on the Polk State website. Plan for interaction, or how can you expect to communicate with me? Well, I'm going to send out a message, one message at minimum per week at the beginning of the week once a new module has opened. And that message will contain information about what's due, what kind of material you're going to be looking at, maybe some tips on how to complete those assignments. So that will be my overview message at the beginning of each week. You will also receive individualized feedback on your essays. I'm going to read all of your writing and comment specifically on things that you can do to improve, as well as what you're doing well, so that you know what you're doing a good job on, because those are also important things to take note of. I will engage with the conversations being had on the discussion board as time allows, and you will receive direct instruction from me through these kinds of videos on course content, types of essays, grammar, things like that. I try to respond to all emails and messages within 24 hours. If it's been over 24 hours and you have not received a response from me, you can go ahead and email me again, because maybe I just got a dozen emails that morning and I lost track, but I'm pretty good about following up with students. So if you haven't heard from me, something might be wrong. Now, this phone number, I'm required to give it out, but it is sort of a last resort method of getting in touch with me. If there's an emergency, if you have an urgent question but you can't access Canvas, I can't think of many situations that would warrant texting me, but if it happens, it happens. Just include your name. Make sure to include your name. Surprisingly, a lot of students just forget to tell me who they are when they message my phone. So that's there for you if you need it. That is how I will interact with you. Now, course materials. There is no textbook in this class. You are not required to buy a textbook. You are welcome. I use what's called OER, or Open Educational Resources. These are becoming super popular as open access gains traction, because we're realizing that a lot of textbooks and the way they're produced is like a scam. And so more and more open resources that are just as effective, just as reliable. That's what I use. In return, though, I do ask that you have a reliable and strong internet connection and Microsoft Word. You will need to compose your documents on Microsoft Word. Please do not attempt to take this class using only a cell phone. That is just not good for your eyes or your brain, or for formatting things. Don't do it. I'm sure the Canvas app has improved leaps and bounds since I first messed with it a few years ago, but it's got some issues still. Don't use just the app. You have computers available for you at all of the Polk State libraries. So maybe you need to, if you can't get if you don't have access to a computer that week for whatever reason, make some time to go to a nearby campus and use their libraries. You also have access to Microsoft 365 through your Polk State account. And the website, Polk State website, shows you how to access that. There are links right there for if you're having trouble with your MyPolk login, or if you need to get started using 365, you're going to click that. There's my highlights that I wasn't using. Okay. So course content, what exactly are we doing in ENC 1101? Well, we're going to look at writing level things like sentence structure, how to put sentences together at the college level so that they make sense. Grammar, rhetorical modes, paragraph writing, essay writing, that's pretty standard. You'll be looking at different types of writing for different audiences and different purposes, or why are you writing in the first place. The conventions and things that you have to do will be different depending on your purpose. Research and how to document that research. Reading to analyze texts, all kinds of texts, argumentative texts, journalism texts, or like reporting or articles, credible scholarly articles for research, stories, all kinds of stuff, and additional topics as determined by yours truly. Now, one common criticism I get, at least sometimes at the end of the year when you do your course surveys, gosh, this class has so much writing. It's so much writing, just a ton of writing, and I hate writing. Well, yeah, that's kind of the point. It's a writing class. I mean, if you were taking a math class, would you ever say, gosh, there's just so much math in this class? You know, I don't know, maybe you would. But yeah, don't be surprised when you'll be writing a lot every week. I know some students hate writing, and if that's you, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. You're in this class for a reason, and I'm going to give you what you're paying for, which is writing instruction, and I can't do that unless I see a lot of your writing. So again, just expect it. Okay, so if you click that link under course outline, it will take you to a Google Doc. I write the schedule on a Google Doc because I give you a lot of it up front, but as the weeks go on, I decide what assignments I'm going to include based on student performance and what I think is needed. So I don't have a concrete schedule built out from start to finish with every single thing in it. I do have the major assignments, and the due dates will be there on the schedule. And I'll look at the schedule in detail in a moment. Your grade will be determined based on 3 essays, 1 research paper, and a few exams, including the final grammar test. You're going to have 2 grammar tests plus the final grammar test. So I guess it's 3 grammar tests, but I like the final grammar test I kind of think as a separate because it combines the first 2. 2 vocabulary tests, and then the final grammar test, like I just said. And then you have the other category, which is everything else. These smaller assignments, reading quizzes, reading comprehension questions and activities, discussion posts, that all falls under the other category. And you can see that the research paper is the highest percentage there. It's sort of the culmination of all of your work in the class, so it is worth the most. And then the essays build from essay 1 is 10%, essay 2 is 15%, essay 3 is 20%. This increasing percentage is meant to reflect your knowledge of writing and learning from previous mistakes so that you do better each time. And so that's why we have that increasing percentage. Some more grading policies. if you submit an assignment before the deadline, so if you submit something on a Wednesday, I may grade it the next day. I may grade it on a Thursday. I like to grade as things come in if I can, because it helps me cut down on my workload, and that's my way of trying to stay on top of the assignments. So if you turned it on Wednesday, I graded on Thursday. Let's say I took a few points off. You may decide, oh, I still have a few days before this sucker is due, so let me just correct it and turn it back in. That's not gonna fly, because I only grade things once. So when you turn that assignment in, you are letting it go. It is out of your hands, and you know that it can be graded now, and that grade will enter the grade book. There is no correcting and turning it back in, even before the due date. I comment on the drafts of your essays. I'm going to give you feedback to guide your revision process. But if you want extra feedback, or if you want feedback on an assignment that I'm not looking at drafts of, like discussion posts, you can email those to me ahead of time. I'm certainly happy to help and point out anything that might that you could improve on. I do ask that you send these feedback requests at least 48 hours before the deadline. And that's to give me enough time to comment and you enough time to revise. I do try to grade within 1 week, and I've done pretty good about that. Sometimes I do fall behind, and if that is the case, I always send a message out just letting you know that I haven't forgotten about these assignments. I'm just a little behind on grading. So I do try my best to keep that grade book up to date so that you know how you're doing in the class. And each assignment will have a rubric with information on how it will be assessed, so you'll know exactly what I'm looking for. All right, attendance. First day attendance, I already mentioned that. If you do not submit all your work for week 1 by the due date, you will be dropped. Now, to succeed in an online course, you have to log in regularly, consistently, read all emails and assignment comments, and keep track of due dates. You have to read the emails I send. Sometimes I know it's a lot, but this is my only way of communicating with you guys, is sending these emails and commenting on the assignments. Most of the time when you get a grade for something, there will also be a comment. Those comments might say something really important, like, you turned in the wrong type of document. I'm going to give you a chance to correct this. But if you don't read that comment and you don't make those changes, you'll end up getting a 0. You need to read all assignment comments. And you've got to keep track of deadlines. Assignments are due Sundays by 11:59. And then at 12:01, the following day / morning, the next module is going to open. Sometimes the modules will open a little earlier on Sunday, just depending on what I'm doing. Sometimes I open them at 8 or 9 in the evening. But you will always have the next module open Monday when you get started. It is essential to attend by accessing Canvas every Monday. I am going to recommend strongly log in every Monday to open the module, to see what's due, and to then make a plan for how you will get the work done. If you open the module or the week for the first time on Friday, Saturday, let alone Sunday, you're going to be in bad shape. Because, you know, these online classes, there's a lot that you have to get done on your own. It is self-paced. It is up to you. You're doing all of the work. So you've got to understand how much time will be required of you each week and make a plan for how you're going to get through those assignments. If you do not log in regularly or complete these assignments that are due every week, you may be dropped, and that's at my discretion. But it is ultimately your responsibility to withdraw if you choose. So if you decide, getting close to the withdrawal date, that you're not doing so hot, you want to start over, you want to just get out of the class, don't leave it up to me. Make sure that you withdraw yourself. I do have the ability to do it, but it's better if the students do it themselves. Last day to withdraw is April 2nd. That is the last day to withdraw this semester. I get this question all the time. Can I work ahead? And the answer is no. For a couple reasons, mostly because each module is sort of built on the one before it, and I want you to be applying what you've learned in 1 week to the weeks ahead. So it's important to me that you're not rushing the course, but that you apply the skills and the revision strategies that I've shown you each week. So we're not working ahead, we are taking it 1 week at a time. No late work is accepted aside from the final drafts of the 3 essays in the research paper. So if you don't turn in a discussion post on time, a draft on time, a quiz on time, it's going to remain a 0. Now I do accept these final drafts late because they are worth such a big chunk of your grade. So you can submit these final drafts up to 3 days late with a deduction of 10 points per day or per 24 hours that they are late. The time constraints involved in final grading make accepting the research paper late a little complicated. So I've said here, you can submit the research paper up to 1 day late for a deduction of 20 points. No work will be accepted after May 4th at 11:59 p.m. Final drafts submitted after the 3-day late period will receive a 0. And for your assignment to be considered on time, there's a lot that needs to happen. It has to be typed. It has to be uploaded to the correct Dropbox in Canvas. It has to be in the correct file format. It needs to be the correct assignment too. I can't tell you how often students just upload the wrong thing to Canvas. You are responsible for ensuring that you upload the correct assignment in the correct format. Turnitin requires files in doc or docx format through Microsoft Word. So that's why I need them in that format, because they go through the Turnitin scan. And again, you have access to Microsoft Word through your Polk State accounts, so you can save it in the correct format. I do not accept assignments through email unless otherwise notified. I had to do this once after a really bad hurricane, and like no one had power, or power was hard to come by, and Canvas, no one could get into Canvas, but email was working for some students. I don't know, but it was a rough time, and I was lenient, and so if I got an assignment emailed, it was fine. But that's extenuating circumstances. You've got to turn in the assignments through the correct Dropbox in Canvas. With that said, I do understand that life happens. So if something happens to you that prevents you from doing your work on Canvas for a prolonged time, emergencies, illness or injury, some other kind of unexpected circumstance, like you're in jail, I don't know, these things happen. Just let me know as soon as you can what's going on. And I'm a pretty understanding person. I can grant extensions ahead of time. So if you're looking for an extension, try to contact me before If it's Friday night and you've been really sick, can't get out of bed, or you had to go out of town for a funeral, just try to let me know before Sunday what's happening, and I can say, yeah, you can have a few extra days, that's fine. What I don't want to do is get an email from you after an assignment deadline has passed saying, I'm sorry, my grandpa died. It's been a really rough week. That's why I haven't turned anything in. Can I still submit it? Because in that case, that's not really a legitimate excuse. I can't even tell you how many grandparents die every semester. Look, I get it. Sometimes these things are real. Tragedies happen. Just be honest with me about what's going on. And I will more than likely do what I can to work with you. Some students know ahead of time that they're going out of town, for instance, and I may not be able to open the module ahead of time, but I can give you advice on what to work on. So if you know that you're going on a cruise, you're traveling for a conference or an undergraduate thing, I don't know. All these old experiences are running through my mind, things students have told me as to why they're leaving. Whatever's going on, I can advise you on what to work on if I can't open an assignment early. So just keep me posted. Bottom line, keep me posted. Now, strategies for making sure you succeed in the class. I've already said this, but log in every Monday. Don't wait until the weekend to open Canvas and see what's due. Don't do it. This is not a challenge accepted moment. This is a, okay, I should probably listen to my teacher moment. Maintain regular access to your email, to the Canvas inbox. Read all those communications. Find the time management strategy that works for you. If you know that you do great with a physical planner, writing things down, great, use that. Use it consistently. Or maybe you just like making informal checklists and kind of hanging it on your computer. Or maybe you like the Notes app or the Calendar app, whatever. Find out what works for you for keeping track of your stuff, and then make sure that you're doing those things all throughout the semester. If you have a question, read the relevant documents, whether it's the syllabus, assignment instructions, weekly email or announcements. See if the answer is in there. If you still can't find it, then feel free to email me or send me a message. Don't be afraid of asking for help. Okay? It is my job to assist you. It is my job to answer emails, to clarify things. It is really important that you're comfortable communicating with me. So don't feel like there are stupid questions and I'm going to laugh at you, because I'm not. It's really important that you ask me for help when you need it. Last semester, there were a lot of occurrences of students who, this is what they said anyway, that they didn't know if a word meant what they thought it meant, so they asked ChatGPT, and that's how they got help. And I'm thinking, if only you had access to an expert in writing who could tell you what that word meant. That's what I'm here for. Don't go elsewhere for help. I don't care if your sister is a good essay writer, or your dad is really great with words and sentences. I mean, that's fine, but they could always tell you the wrong thing. You don't know. Come to me for help. That's what I'm here for. Keep track of your progress by monitoring grades. Proofread everything before you turn it in, because grammar and spelling mistakes can add up. This applies to the essays and to any kind of communication that you're going to send, whether it's to me or another professor. You should make professional communication a habit. Use all of these resources that I mentioned earlier that are available through Polk State to help you. They are available for just about anything you're dealing with academically. And even beyond that, there are people who can help students with things like food scarcity, homelessness, domestic violence, any kind of situation, social situations or otherwise. There's probably someone on campus who can help with that. Not to mention all of the really amazing people in tutoring, the library, career planning, all of that. And along those lines, know who you should contact based on the issue you're having. There's a different number for Canvas issues than for your Polk login, for instance, and you can see those phone numbers on the screen. I cannot help with technical issues. If there's a problem with your password or Canvas is glitching out for you and only you, I can't do anything about that. It is completely out of my hands. So there are numbers that you need to call if you're having those kinds of issues. And a little note about more information on finding help. Office hours, of course, you can reach me there. And then another note about all of these resources available to help you. The TLCC TLCC, student success, tutoring, libraries can help with research, just all kinds of stuff. I wanted to put the link in there for that so you have that in the syllabus. And now we're going to talk about my least favorite thing in the whole world, plagiarism and AI. You should have already watched that first video, so actually I don't have to spend a ton of time on this because I talked about AI in the first video, but plagiarism is still sometimes an issue. Plagiarism being the taking someone else's work and presenting it as if it were your own, whether it's not including quotation marks, because quotation marks say these are someone else's words. So if you don't do that, if you don't cite something correctly, that's a kind of plagiarism. If you just copy and paste from the internet, that's plagiarism. Copy something from a textbook or get a friend to write the paper for you, that's another form of academic dishonesty. So this policy, which you need to read in full and make sure you understand it, will explain how not to get that F on the assignment or in the class, because the college takes plagiarism and academic dishonesty very seriously. You will not do well if you don't submit your own work. There is a zero tolerance policy, which results in zeros. And lastly, and of course that goes for AI too, which you should know if you watched that first video. The syllabus does serve as a contract between student and instructor. So if you proceed to take this class, that's you saying you understand all of the policies in the syllabus and you agree to follow them. If that's not the case, you've got to reach out to me so we can talk, we can clarify things. Okay, let's look at these Canvas modules. This is how the course is organized into the weekly modules, which you can click from the left-hand navigation, and it will take you here, which I already showed you earlier, documents and resources. At the top, you'll see the orientation videos link, which is, I assume you know how to access because you're watching this video, followed by the syllabus, followed by that Google Doc, our schedule of assignments, and then the OWL at Purdue, which is the best site out there for help with MLA, which is our citation style. So it can walk you through anything MLA related, from designing your page layout to how to format your citations. And I'm going to use the OWL a lot. I've been using the OWL since I was in college, and it is just as authoritative as when I used it. Polk State Library access. Now this document will show you how to access the library online, including the databases that we will use when we get to the research paper. So that is always going to be at the top. You'll know how to access that. And my writing hub. This is a online document of several pages and tabs, and it's kind of like a little miniature textbook. I'm real proud of it. I've been building it for a long time. This is this unofficial guide to style, grammar, formatting, mainly to the abbreviations I use when I give feedback. So you see an abbreviation and you'll go to the writing hub to see what it means and how to fix it. So it's a one-stop shop for the sentence level things that you might need help with. Cannot take this class without using the writing hub. I guarantee it will come in handy for each of you at least once. Okay, here's our schedule. So this is what it will look like if you click that Google Doc. It is organized by week/module. It kind of means the same thing. And then course content, or what we'll be doing that week. And then major assignments with a little asterisk that I'll show you in a second. And then the due date. All of those due dates are Sundays. If not, there's a problem. The major assignments are listed there, due Sundays at 11:59. And then if you scroll all the way down, you will see our final assignments, along with what I said earlier, no work accepted after May 4th. Grades are due Thursday, May 7th. They will be available to you the next day. And that asterisk just means that you can see the major assignments, but again, especially toward the latter half of the semester, I plan as I go based on what I feel is needed. So you can expect, in addition to the major assignments, 3 or 4 smaller stakes activities in that other category per week. But the schedule will always be kept up to date. If anything does change, you will know well in advance of any changes. And yeah, that's easily available for you at the top of our Canvas page. Yeah, okay. And getting down into week 1 now. So when you go into week 1, so you scroll down after documents and resources, you're going to see week 1. This is our first module, and it's incredibly important that you start each module with the overview page. It'll say week 1 overview or week 2 overview or whatever. These overview pages are designed sort of as checklists to show you everything you've got to do for that week. And I do recommend completing the items in the order they appear. So then just another note about that first day attendance requirement. So these are the tasks you have to do by that deadline, January 11th, or you will be dropped from the class. So you've got the reading of the syllabus, the 2 orientation videos. You have a syllabus quiz. The quiz is on the syllabus and the video you're watching now. You're going to upload a profile picture to Canvas. You will write about yourself on the discussion board. You'll do the diagnostic writing assignment. And finally, you'll take the grammar pre-test. So all of those things have to get done by the end of this first week, which I should mention is a shortened week. I know that we're beginning not on a Monday, but on a Wednesday? Thursday? I actually don't know what day of the week we're starting, but it's not Monday. It's a shortened week, and I'm aware of that. So make sure you make a plan for how you're going to get all these things done. And again, use the overview page. Do not rely on your Canvas to-do list. Every student has one. I don't know where it shows up nowadays, but you'll have that to-do list where it shows you the things that are due. But what's not in that to-do list are the readings, lectures, any other contextual assignments that you need in order to do the graded assignments. So if you're just relying on your to-do list and not looking at the modules, you will miss important material. Don't rely only on your to-do list. So I'll show you a little bit about what's due this first week. This is your rubric for the discussion boards. When you go into each discussion board, you won't be able to see what other students have said until you make your post. So it's important. If you are one of the first to make your post on the discussion board, you're going to have to remember to come back later to write your replies, because discussion boards consist of you doing your original post where you're answering all of those questions, meeting the minimum word count, and staying on topic, and also your peer responses. You're responding to at least 2 of your classmates on the discussion board, and those replies are meaningful. They say something beyond "great job" or "I really learned something here." The responses need to be specific and unique to your peers' post, not broad remarks that could apply to anyone. I want you to be saying different things to each person you reply to. Make it obvious that you've read their ideas and you're responding in an authentic way. And then style and grammar, that counts as well for the discussion grades. So each discussion board post is worth 15 points. And again, if you forget to come back and make those replies, you will lose out on 4 of those points. Here is the introduction and the instructions for that. It has a written component where you're going to answer these details about yourself, and then it has an image part where I would like you to upload an image that's related in some way to who you are. It could be something related to a hobby or interest, something you did over winter break or last summer, or a fun or an important childhood memory. Could be pictures of your family, anything that's appropriate and that's not just a selfie of your face. I want your image to be meaningful in some way to who you are and what you conceive of your identity as. So if you love horses and you take care of them, or you ride them and you advocate for their welfare, upload a picture of a horse. The options are endless. And then make sure that you explain in your post what this image is and how it relates to your identity. Use the images button. There's a little GIF. There's big war about how you say that, but there's a little tiny video showing you how to do that. You're going to use the upload image button, not file. Don't upload it as a file. Upload it as an actual image. And then you'll be able to resize it. And yeah. So that is your first post. Diagnostic writing. Okay, so this is your chance to show me your writing skills. And you all have skills. Don't think that you don't. Everybody has a certain degree of writing talent, whether it's in style and grammar or content or an energetic voice. You all have something that I am interested in seeing in your writing, and I don't want you to be hesitant to do that. This is my job. I want to see where you're at. And so this is my first chance to see your writing. Be yourself and write naturally while following standard English, of course, so that I can get to know you as a writer. You will see 5 topics, and you're going to choose one of those topics. You'll open up a document in Microsoft Word, set up your page in MLA format, because among other things, this assignment is designed to familiarize you with MLA and get used to setting up a document using that structure. You will write at least 3 paragraphs, about 6 to 8 sentences each, as your response. You will then save it as a doc or docx, and you will upload it here when you are finished. This is important. Please select a topic that you can write on without needing to consult the internet. Okay, in other words, choose one that you might already have prior knowledge on or experience about, whatever. Nothing that you have to look up, because I don't want you using research for this assignment. I want this all to be your ideas, your original response. And this is going to be run through Turnitin like your other writing assignments. The instructions also show you an example of MLA format. So you can see your name, my name, class, the date, and then what should be your title. So there's all the criteria that you have to meet in order to get a 10 out of 10. This is not graded based on your writing skills. So don't stress about perfection. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm never looking for perfection. I am more interested in progress and improvement. And so I need to see your authentic location of where you are right now as a writer. That's what I'm looking for. But I do need to see that you can use correct MLA, that you're staying on topic, that you're not using research. This is only your original writing in the correct format, at least 3 paragraphs, and uploaded to the correct assignment by the deadline. So this does work as a kind of practice to make sure you can fulfill all of these requirements, which will be part of your future assignments. And we have the grammar pre-test. This is another diagnostic activity. It will let me see kind of where you're at with grammar and how well you know some of these grammatical rules. The department does require me to contact students who do not pass the grammar pretest. So if you score below a 60% on the pretest, you will get an email from me kind of saying, hey, your score was kind of low. It might be best for you to take a preparatory class before ENC 1101. That will be completely optional. You don't have to drop the class and take a prep class, but it's just something I'm required to do, which is to let you know that it may be in your best interest to get a little more practice before taking ENC 1101. You do need to need to have a C in this class in ENC 1101 to pass or to get credit for it. So the grammar pretest, like the writing, is not graded for accuracy. So don't stress. You will get completion points. I will give you a completion grade for getting it done. It's very long. I didn't write it. I'm sorry. But take it when you have, I would say, at least 45 minutes of availability. Don't rush. Just do your best. Don't stress. Try to avoid stress at all costs. So that's it. You made it. You made it. That is your ENC 1101 orientation. So at this point, if you have read the syllabus, watch the videos and you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. And I'm happy to make any clarifications as needed. So thanks for watching.